Hi again, it's Paul here from Merchant Spring. I am one of the co-founders and the product owner here, and today I'm going to take you through the introductory training for the My Channel section inside our platform. Specifically, I'm going to focus on the 3P part of it, or the Amazon seller or the Walmart seller, and I'm going to give you a broad overview and walk you through some of the reports are available. There are many reports here that require additional training, so make sure that you check out our intermediate modules for specific in-depth training on those specific modules, and I will point out to you what those are. But for now, let's dive right in. So again, hopefully this is starting to look really familiar to you by now. We've just logged in, we're at the dashboard. That's really the starting point for the application. Now let's navigate through the My Channels section. And to introduce this section, really what this section is about is giving you an extensive set of reports and details that relate to one particular channel at the time. Just to orientate ourselves in terms of this section, there's a couple of areas here. First of all, right here on the right-hand side, it says Amazon Seller Demo here. That's the channel we're using for this training. That's the store, that's the data that we are looking at right now. As you can see, you can easily toggle to a vendor store or any of the other channels connected. But for the purpose of today, we're going to focus on the Amazon seller data. The time selector here works in exactly the same way as the dashboard. So you pick the time, the comparison, make sure you pick the right time zone, and check the text toggle if you need to do anything with that. In this case, we're looking at a US store. So I'm going to leave the text toggle off because Amazon reports excluding sales tax. And I've just checked, and the time zone is set to the West Coast, or Pacific Standard Time, or Daylight Savings Time, which is what Amazon reports. Now, what else do we see here? We see really two things, or at least that's the way I look at it. We can see here a dashboard. As you can see, we've ended up here in the channel overview. That provides you with a snapshot of everything that's going on inside that channel, followed by here on the left-hand side, an extensive series of reports. They span traffic and conversion data, sales insights, profitability. For Amazon, we cover things like suppressed products, buy box pricing, operational information, including account health, review management, and marketing as well. So if you have connected your Amazon advertising account to our platform, this module will become available to you as well. So let's start with the channel overview. And as I said before, the channel overview just relates to one particular channel at a time for the time range you've selected. And the typical use case here is to try and spot issues. What we try and do is surface everything to you in a quick and visual way so that you can spot opportunities. And we've even providing you here with a little notepad. So this little yellow box, this may have a different color depending on your white label implementation, of course, but there is a little box here on the side that slides out when you click on it. And it has a section called My Notes. In here, you can actually take notes on any observations. If you're doing some maybe testing, this is your workspace. No one else will see this particular part of these notes. Different story for external comments, but we'll get onto that as part of our reporting module. So the idea here is to scroll down, and most e-commerce managers or account managers at agencies or brand managers at aggregators will scroll through here to understand and quickly make a to-do list. What are the issues here? So we can see overall sales up 6%. Now we've already saw in an earlier training session that the total business was up 34%. So 6% isn't that great. Our health status luckily is good. We don't have any inactive listings or suppressed listings, so we can probably skip over that. Our conversion here, page views are trending up. Our conversion is pretty steady, so we're happy with that. We do have some issues, and we'll go into a lot more detail here in terms of notifications in another module. But as you can see, we have been notified there is one product that we're about to run out of stock. One product has been suppressed, and there's also a seller health issue potentially. We can look at profitability here. It's always really useful to look at, okay, what are we doing currently versus the comparison period? Where are the ups and downs? Now here, actually, it's a good news story. Our margin has expanded slightly. Our numbers are up. So actually, from a profitability point of view, things seem to be humming nicely. And in fact, all of our products that we sold during this period were profitable. Probably has something to do with it. We haven't uploaded any unit cogs, but for the purpose of trading, let's move on. We then get to advertising, quickly understanding, okay, does advertising look like it falls between the parameters that we'd like to see? First of all, the mix between ad sales and organic sales, is that what you're expecting to see? One thing we are seeing is that our ACOS here is slowly trending up, which isn't great. It's currently sitting at 36.3%. It's the same as last year, so not a lot of movement versus the comparison period, but the real question is, are these metrics within your targets there as well? And as you can see, we're starting to disaggregate that, and we can see that later when we touch on the advertising module as well. Not all campaigns obviously are running at the same ACOS on the same spend. So if we drill down here, we can already start to see opportunities of campaigns, keywords, or ad groups where we may want to have a look at. For example, here, our sponsored brands campaigns are running significantly higher than our sponsored products. So I may want to take an action here and say, okay, actually, I want to look at the sponsored brand campaigns and see if we can do some optimization there. The next 4 modules really tries to look at that sales number, which I think was only single digit up on the prior year, and disaggregate that to really try and understand the engine might be humming, but are there cylinders in the engine that are not humming as well as they should? First of all, in terms of sales by category, we can see that not all categories were up. So in terms of the third category here, that was actually down versus the comparison period. So we may want to have a look at that. And then on a by brand basis, there are some brands here that didn't fare so well. So particularly brand number 3 and 4, again, they were down on the prior year. So again, there are watch outs, things to investigate. And we can go even further, and we can look at top sellers and worst sellers. And these widgets here just show you the top 5, and we'll go into a little bit more detail here. But in terms of the top sellers, we can already see the number 2 seller and number 3 seller are actually down versus the comparison period. And we have a much broader issue is here, and we see the color coding already starting to show, is that these products and their inventory left is starting to fall below thresholds. So not only was performance for some of these products not that great, actually you might be facing into a particular issue if we don't do anything about this. We can look at worst sellers in a similar way. We can look at products and say, okay, these products have not registered any sales. Maybe there are clues as to why. Well, here we can already see inventory is pretty low, but also, we are losing the buy box on a couple of these, and on a couple of others, Amazon has actually removed the buy box altogether, which gets us into a nice little segue around buy box. So we can see the total win rate. Now that is our rear view mirror. We're looking back and we're looking at, and this is what you typically see inside Seller Central, what has been happening with the buy box win rate. But if we want to have a look at what is happening right now on Amazon, this chart here provides a really good summary. In our case, we have 10 active products that we're trying to sell, and we are currently losing half of those. So our win rate is only 50%. Now, this is not sales. This is if a customer were to land on any of these products right now and try to buy, how many would we win? So it's a forward-looking piece. And as you can see, that breaks down into, there are 3 products where we're losing to another seller, and there are 2 products where Amazon has taken the buy box away altogether. Now, I'm going through this at a fairly slow pace, but once you get used to this dashboard, you'll be able to very quickly see and spot issues and trends. Now, to get a level deeper in terms of actually what's been happening and what's been going on, you've noticed, just like the dashboard, that a lot of these have view all links. That takes you to the relevant report here on the left-hand side. So let's look at our top sellers, for example. We can click through here, and as you can see, we've now ended up in our top seller section here as part of Sales Insights. Here we can see all of the products in our account and their performance for the particular time period. And we can also see what else has been happening here. Are we losing the buy box? Are we winning the buy box? What's our inventory cover? And for most stores, we will also pull in the best seller rank. So have you increased your ranking or decreased your ranking? That organic ranking might be a contributor as to why you are winning or losing sales as well. As you can see, I'm just showing you 1 out of the 7 reports that currently exist in here. There are different ways of looking at your sales. One of the products that is very popular, and there's an intermediate trading session on this particular feature in particular, is the sales by group. This allows you to create your own group of SKUs and ASINs and monitor the performance of those across a group. So as you can see, I've set up groups here for different brands, for different fulfillment types, and even different price brackets. It's a very flexible tool, and please, I encourage you to watch the advanced session on this particular feature. Now, let me just show you some of the other areas there. Traffic and conversion is a great way to check the underlying consumer health of your account. Are page views increasing? Is conversion maintaining, or is it declining? What's your average retail price? Great stats to know. If you're looking at optimizing content, you may want to know the answer to the question, how many of my customers are looking at data on the mobile app versus a browser? It gives you further insight on how to best optimize the content. But of course, most of the actions and most of the opportunities lie at the specific ASIN level. So in the table below here, you can quickly understand for all of your products, which products increased in page views and conversion, or which decreased and the like. So we're pulling together various metrics here. And by clicking on this yellow button, we can even plot a trend line to show you what's been happening over time. Page views, conversion rate, and the buy box. It's a great little tool to measure optimization changes. And there's again a separate module that will go into this into a little bit more detail. We've already covered sales, so I'm going to skip over that. The third aspect is profitability. And again, this is a pretty advanced topic, and we do have a specific training module on this. But from an introductory point of view, I want you to know that from an Amazon point of view, we pull in all the different feed types that Amazon posts to your account. I think at the time of recording this video, I think there's close to 80 different feed types that Amazon can leverage to your account. On top of that, we take inputs from you or from your clients, unit costs fulfilled by manufacturer, shipping costs. We upload those to create an accurate P&L. And we really do that in three ways. We do that at a total channel level. As you can see here, we're looking at the total channel level P&L for the last 30 days and comparing that to last year, allowing you to very quickly compare, what's up, what's down. For example, here, our advertising spend is only 10.3% versus 11 in the comparison period. We also provide you with a view to do that across months. Now, to get all of the months included here, what you do want to do is you go in here and select 12 months worth of data. You can see your P&L by month. Great for making sure that you're running a profitable business or that your client's business is profitable, but also great for benchmarking metrics over time. And last but not least, but perhaps very important, is our product profit. So you can pick any time period and really ask yourself the question, for this particular time period, did I actually make sufficient money on each of the products that I sold? So for example, all of these products are profitable. They're green, which is great news. It's not always the case. Sometimes you will see red numbers here, meaning that you actually lost money or your client lost money on that particular product. And this table allows you to very quickly identify why. First of all, you can bring in additional metrics here to see everything in tabular form, or you can even export it to Excel. And these two icons, by the way, exist in most of the tables across Merchant Spring. So you always have the option of showing more data, more metrics, or exporting into Excel. But if you really want to know more about the makeup of that particular product, you can scroll to the right and click on this little icon here under the heading P&L. That brings up a detailed P&L. It's the same structure as the total account P&L, but this relates specifically to a product to understand both from a dollars point of view, obviously depending on the currency, but also from a percentage revenue and a unit economics point of view. It's a great little tool to quickly diagnose if you are losing money. Why is that happening? Which charges and fees are higher than anticipated? Are refunds running substantially higher than you anticipated? Lots of detail here allows you to very quickly get to the answer there. So that's our profitability module. Let me quickly touch on the pricing module, or the buy box module, because we did see that we were losing the buy box in a couple of areas. First of all, these charts here are the same as you saw in the overview. I think what's really interesting here is which particular product, where are we currently losing the buy box. So I've filtered it right now for losing the buy box. As you can see, you filter this list for anything there. And as we can see, this product here, there is no buy box winner. Typically, this happens because Amazon has detected a more competitive price for the same product on another e-commerce channel. And as a result of that, they will remove the buy box from your product display page. A consumer can still buy the product, but Amazon essentially has introduced a lot more friction. Your price is no longer visible, and it takes a couple of steps. In other situations, you can actually see that you're losing the buy box. So if you click on this column here, which shows sellers, we will show you who are you competing with. What is their price? But also, what is their broader strategy around the seller rating, and are they using FBA or not? The buy box, as we all know, is a complicated algorithm. Price is a big factor, but it's not the only factor. We know that Amazon cares about customer service, reliability, and the like. And therefore, what we try and show you here is to show you some of the other features that go into the buy box. What this may mean is that you may have a competitive advantage, say on the shipping performance or your seller rating, and you don't have to drop your price all the way to that of your competitor in order to win back the buy box. Under the operation aspects, we cover lots of different things. First of all, we cover account health. This reflects the account health in your Amazon store. It uses exactly the same data against the same KPIs that Amazon measures you against. So if your health status goes from good to at risk, and we hope it doesn't, you will be able to see for which particular metric are you out of line, which particular metric triggered the health status from being downgraded from being good to at risk, or, and I really hope this doesn't happen to you, from at risk to closed or suspended. And that could be anything from the customer service performance in terms of order defect rate, A to Z claims, late shipment rate, or policy compliance violation. So all the various metrics that you're used to, we bring inside Merchant Spring here as well. Secondly, there's an entire review module here. It's a little hidden, but it's a great tool to automate the process of soliciting customers for reviews. Simply turn it on, set your parameters, and let the system do the work. What Merchant Spring does, it will cycle through all the orders that have been shipped, check whether those orders are eligible for a review, either because you've defined that under the parameters here, and it meets Amazon's criteria. And then we will tell Amazon, hey, please send out your standard product and seller review template. So we're not customizing a message here. We're not trying to email customers directly. We are using the formally endorsed mechanism by which Amazon solicits feedback. It's a great way to accelerate your ratings and reviews for the products that you sell. Last but not least, let me talk about the marketing module. As I said before, this module will appear once you've connected your Amazon advertising account. If it's not connected, this page will not be visible, and simply there'll be another page instead asking you to link your store. Once it's linked, we retrieve the 90 days of campaign level data, and we will build up history over time, allowing you to see total performance at the account level, but also to start to drill down into various parts of your campaign. Now, there's a little bit, because marketing is such a big topic, we have created a little bit of a separate dashboard here for marketing, which allows us to quickly drill down into any aspects of the campaign. For example, we can look here and we can look at all of the campaigns that are running, quickly sort by ACOS from high to low to identify if there are any campaigns here. As you can see, a lot of these are the sponsored brands where we saw these issues on earlier. Any of these that we may want to look at optimizing because the ACOS is simply running too high. Now, of course, it's important to note context is important here. If you just launch a new product and you're trying to build traction, ACOS this high may well be acceptable for a short period of time. What acceptable is obviously depends on you, but what we do is give you that relative performance very, very quickly. From here, you can then drill down into the different ad groups, see if one particular ad group here is contributing more of the high ACOS of spend than others. And from here, really drill down into the keywords as well. And as you can see, for this particular product, we have a couple of keywords here: dental floss, body wash, body lotion, that are running very, very high. Hence, you may want to go and optimize for those particular keywords or add them to your negative keyword list and the like. You can even go down to products and see what advertising performance looks like on a particular ASIN level. So that concludes our session on the My Channel section for a seller account or a 3P account. As you can see, we've just scratched the surface. There are a lot of reports here that I encourage you to explore, to test, see if it helps you answer questions and improve your performance. And of course, come back to me with any questions. I do want to encourage you to look at some of the more advanced modules that we've got that talk specifically about uploading unit COGS and creating more accurate P&Ls, creating groups, and also filter channels. At this stage, you should be familiar with the My Channels overview and all the different types of reports that are available to you to help you identify and act on opportunities to lift performance. Thank you so much for watching, and see you at the next session.